quadratic formula and the discriminant. Okay, let A, B, and C be real numbers. And A cannot equal 0, because if A is 0, then it's not a quadratic equation. Then the solutions to this are found by the following formula. X equals negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC, all divided by 2A. Okay, starting with solving. Okay, this quadratic formula is, I've known it since I was in high school. I actually memorized it way back then. Somebody wrote a song once about it, but I don't know what it was, and I'm not going to sing it. First thing you got to do, here we've got x squared equals 6x minus 4. Set it equal to 0. Okay, write it in standard form, set it equal to 0. Then, if you need to, you can list out your A equals 1, B equals negative 6, and C equals 4. Okay, if you don't need to do that, by all means, skip that part, but don't you dare miss a negative. Then x equals negative B, or negative B, plus or minus the square root of B squared, which is negative 6 squared, minus 4 times A times C. All that's going to be divided by 2 times A. This is showing your work. This is what I want to see. And then you can skip steps in the simplification process. I probably will, since I only have a little bit of space here. So x equals 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 minus 16 all over 2. Okay? This is going to equal 6 plus or minus the square root of 20 all over 2. 20 has a perfect square factor, so we do that. We've got x equals 6 plus or minus 4 times 5, so that's going to be 2 square roots of 5 all over 2. Now, the 6 and the 2 and the 2 and the 2 will simplify, so yes, you need to simplify that. That's why I talked about splitting the fraction to make this 6 over 2 plus or minus 2 over 2 square roots of 5, because those guys will cancel. This will become a 3. And the final answer is x equals 3 plus or minus the square root of 5. Okay, this is not factorable. Okay, I knew that in the beginning, but you should always check it. Factoring, I think, is always the easiest method to solve. If it's not factorable, you can do completing the square. You can use the quadratic formula. Okay. Next one. Okay. This one, it was given originally 4x squared minus 10x equals 2x minus 9. Move everything over. Set it equal to 0. Now, if you want, you can do the test. 4 times 9 is 36. What are the factors of 36 that'll add to 12? 6 and 6. You know what that means? It's factorable. Even better, you can test it for perfect square trinomial. You need to know that. This is a perfect square. This is a perfect square. Oh, hello. 2 times 3, meaning the square root of this times the square root of that. So 2 times 3 is 6 times 2. Yep, it's a perfect square trinomial. And it's going to factor to 2x minus 3 squared equals 0. That's so much easier than doing all of this. Okay, square root both sides. Don't even really need to. 2x minus 3 equals 0, add 3, 2x equals 3, x equals 3 halves. Okay, so much simpler than doing this. Okay, so always look for that. Next one, given to us originally as 7x minus 5x squared minus 4 equals 2x plus 3. Put it in standard form. Okay, standard form, it's negative 5x squared plus 5x minus 7. Okay, you can just go with the quadratic formula right now, or you can divide by negative 1. I'm going to divide by negative 1, or multiply by negative 1. Because when you multiply or divide by negative 1, you get the same result. This is 5x squared minus 5x plus 7 equals 0. Okay. 5 times 7 is 35. Factors of 35, that'll add to 5. No. 1 and 35, 5 and 7. That's it. No. So it does not factor. A equals 5, B equals negative 5, C equals 7. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. X equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of negative 5 squared minus 4 times 5 times 7. All that's going to be divided by 2 times 5. Okay. X equals, and you can skip a few steps if you need to. I've got it worked out already, so I'm going to. I've got 5 plus or minus the square root of negative 115. All that. 5 squared is 25. That is 140, so it's 25 minus 140 is negative 115. All that's going to be over 10. Well, what's the negative do? Oh yeah, pokes an eye out. And then we're left with 115 does not simplify. There are no perfect square factors of 115. So all we're left with here is we're left with 5 over 10 plus or minus I square roots of 115 over 10. And we can simplify that. We can simplify this to 1/2. So x equals 1/2 plus or minus I square roots of 115 all over 10. Okay. All right, here's a note-taking paper. Here is the discriminant. The discriminant is one particular piece of the quadratic formula, and that piece is b squared minus 4ac. That's called the discriminant. We can use the discriminant to determine what type and how many solutions a quadratic equation has. Okay. Now, if b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, in other words, positive, there are two distinct real solutions. Distinct just means different. Okay? Solutions, roots, zeros, and x-intercepts, they're all connected very closely. So you can actually say if the discriminant is greater than 0, there are two distinct real solutions, also known as roots, also known as zeros, also known as x-intercepts. Okay, so when we get to graphing, your x-intercepts are going to be the zeros, the roots, the solutions. Okay, if it's equal to 0, then there is one distinct real solution, root, zero, or x-intercept. Okay, they are all very closely connected. If the discriminant is negative or less than 0, there are two imaginary solutions, but they're also called imaginary roots. They could be imaginary zeros, but there's no x-intercepts. Okay? So if we have imaginary solutions, roots, or zeros, we can have those. There are no imaginary x-intercepts. So that just means it doesn't cross the x-axis. Okay, how do we use this? We are going to use the discriminant to determine how many zeros, or how many and what type of solutions, then we're going to solve it. Okay, so, You can check it to see if it'll factor if you want. 2 times 4 is 8. Are there factors of 8 that'll subtract the 4? No. Okay. Let's do the discriminant. B squared minus 4AC. B is negative 4, so negative 4 squared minus 4 times A times C. Okay. Negative 4 times negative 4. Oh, both of those are going to become positive when we multiply them. This is also going to be, so this is going to be 16 plus 32, which is 48. Okay. Now, that tells me, oh, it's positive. I have 2 real solutions. There we go. I have 2 real solutions. So let's solve. So we've done that part. So now all we've got to do is x equals negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 48 all over 2 times 2. Okay. We've done the discriminant once. We don't need to do it again. 48 equals 16 times 3. Okay, we'll simplify that. So x equals 4 plus or minus 4 square roots of 3 all over 4. Well, guess what? All these 4's are going to cancel because when you split it, it's going to become 4 over 4 plus or minus 4 over 4 square roots of 3. So x equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 3. 2 real. They're irrational, so it's not factorable, but it's still real. Next one, if you want to check it, we can check it. 4 times 9 is 36. Are there factors of 36 that'll add to 6? No, not happening there. Okay, so let's check the discriminant. 6 squared minus 4 times 9. Well, that's going to be 36 minus... I don't know. Alright, I did it earlier. It's negative 108. So, negative means 2 imaginary solutions. Oh, 2 imaginaries. That's nice. X equals negative 6 plus or minus the square root of negative 108 all over 2 times 4. Okay. Well, 108 happens to be 36 times 3. So this is 36 times 3. Let's simplify that radical. Let's poke the eye out. We got negative 6 plus or minus 6i square roots of 3. Square root of that. That's still underneath the square root. All over 8. Now the 6's will simplify. 6/8 is 3/4. So we've got x equals negative 3/4 plus or minus 3i square root of 3 all over 4. And then the last one. Okay, here's one we need to put it into standard form. Okay, so standard form would be negative 5x squared. Add 7x, so plus 10x. Subtract the 6 minus 5 equals 0. Oh, I'm solving, and I have a greatest common factor, so I'm going to divide by that. And I'm going to divide by negative 5, the whole thing. That's going to change this to x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 0. Will it factor? Are there factors of 1 that'll add to 2? Oh, how convenient. 1 plus 1 is 2. This is a perfect square trinomial, guys. Perfect square, perfect square. X minus 1 squared equals 0. No quadratic formula used in here. Although I should have probably done the discriminant since I said to, but you know, it is what it is. X minus 1 equals 0. X equals 1. One distinct solution. So you know what the discriminant was? The discriminant was 0.